Hi Year 10s. In today's lesson, we will be looking at fractional distillation, which is the process of separating hydrocarbons according to their boiling points. By the end of the lesson, you will know the process of fractional distillation and what each fraction is used for. Pause the video now for no longer than 5 minutes and answer the do now questions. Right, so I'm going to give you the answers on here. So make sure you mark it with your green pen and we'll move on with the lesson. Okay, so last lesson we learned about crude oil. Crude oil is a mixture of hydrocarbons that can be used to make fuel, plastic, pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. But crude oil itself is actually pretty useless since all of the hydrocarbons are mixed together. So we need a method to separate them. Right, hopefully you remember alkanes, which are a series of hydrocarbons found in crude oil. They all have different properties due to their different lengths and sizes. The longer the alkane gets, the higher the melting point and the boiling point gets. This is a very useful tool for us because it allows us to separate them according to their boiling point. Right, so the method of separating hydrocarbons is called fractional distillation. It takes place in large columns, as you can see in this picture, but I will be using a diagram so you can see what actually happens on the inside. Okay, so crude oil is heated to a high temperature at the beginning, which happens outside of the column, and it gets turned into a gas. This vaporized crude oil is then fed into the column, and the column is hotter at the bottom and it gets cooler as you go up. Okay, so the vapors will rise up the column, as you can see here, and they will eventually condense when they reach their boiling point and are removed. So each of these fractions where the hydrocarbons get removed from has the same hydrocarbon, so with the same or similar number of carbon atoms. Right, so pause the video here and think about which hydrocarbons will be collected at the top and which hydrocarbons will be collected towards the bottom. Okay, so you may know that the shorter hydrocarbons have got a lower boiling point and will therefore be collected at the top of the column, where the temperature is lower. This is because they are gases at high temperatures and will only condense into a liquid when the temperature is low enough. Okay, so have a go at this task. So what I would like you to do here is to write down the sentences and then fill the gaps using the words from the word bank at the bottom. Use about 5 minutes to get this done, and then I'll give you the answers on the next slide. Okay, so here are the answers. Make sure you mark everything with your green pen again, and we will move on. Right, so let's have a look at the uses for these separate fractions. We know that at the top of the fraction, we collect short hydrocarbons with the lowest boiling points. These are the most flammable hydrocarbons. So at the very top, we've got bottled gas, and then the next fraction down is gasoline or petrol. That's the fuel for cars. Next up, we've got naphtha, which is used for making chemicals, and then kerosene for aircraft fuel. Next one down is diesel, which is used for fuel for cars and lorries and buses. And lower down, we've got fuels for ship and power station. And at the very bottom, we've got the largest hydrocarbons, which are bitumen, and it's used for roads and roofs. So these hydrocarbons are really long and they have less uses than the shorter ones. So what we can do is we can break these large hydrocarbons down into smaller ones in a process called cracking. But again, this is for tomorrow's lesson, so you don't have to worry about it just yet. So for the last task of this lesson, I would like you to answer this exam question, and then there's another exam question on the next slide. So you can see that this one has got 3 marks altogether, so you should take no longer than 3 minutes to answer this one, so you can pause it here. And the next one will be a 6-mark question explaining how crude oil is separated into different fractions by fractional distillation. I'm going to give you the answers to these questions in tomorrow's PowerPoint slide. So have a nice rest of your day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.